left off with Bill 392, and there was a question on page 2 of the bill on the lot number, and Senator Frank Blas, you said that you will be able to have an answer for us this morning.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, relative to the question asked by the good senator from Barrigada, that land was designated. It is the land parcel that the good senator was questioning about. The parcel was identified in the original agreement that was provided between the government of Guam and the Department of Land Management.
Thank you, Senator Blas. Senator Pangilinan, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Since the parcel is already subject to another agreement, I did not want to impose the legislative will on that. In order to allow them to be able to change that agreement in terms of better siting or any other flexibility that they may have. And so I would make a motion to just delete section C and then, of course, renumber the following sections appropriately.
On the motion then to delete subsection C and then to renumber the rest of the remaining sections, are there any objections? There being none, so ordered. On the motion then to place Bill 392 LS, and you would like to okay. So on the motion then to place 392 LS and the third reading file without any objections, so ordered.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Yesterday afternoon, we're going to go back to some of the ones that we didn't have committee reports. So, and we do have now this has no number. What's this? Okay, we are now on Bill 234, as amended by the committee. Senator Gutherds, you're recognized. 234. A motion to accept.
Make a motion to accept the committee report for purposes of discussion.
Okay, so accept 234 LS as amended by the Committee on Public Safety, Criminal Justice, and Youth without objection, so ordered. A motion now to place.
Thank you very much. Madam Chair, as you know,
motion to place.
I like to move this to third reading for discussion.
And you would like to discuss? Yes, please continue.
Thank you. Madam Chair, as you know, Guam and the rest of the world have been experiencing many challenges, partly due to high energy costs and fluctuating energy costs. And a lot of creativity has been developed in the world and in our country to design and develop new modes of transportation. And one of those modes is known as the Electric Personal Assistive Mobility Device, or EPAMD. This device, Madam Chair, is a self-balancing two-wheeled device which is designed to transport only one person, and it is solely powered by an electric propulsion system with a maximum speed of 12.5 miles per hour. Basically, Madam Chair, Madam Speaker, this bill would authorize the use of these devices on Guam, not on main roads, but on secondary thoroughfares and areas that are appropriate for their use. We can distinguish an electric personal assistive mobility device from a bicycle in the sense that this is an electrically propelled mode of transportation. In addition, the bill provides guidelines on how and where these particular devices can and should be used. I would like to say that public hearings were held with respect to this subject, and testimony was presented by various private organizations and businesses, as well as testimony from the Guam Police Department and other government agencies, which suggested certain amendments which were included in the final bill. So with that in mind, Madam Chair, in recognition of the dramatic changes that are occurring today, internationally, nationally, and hopefully here in our community, to find alternative ways of moving folks from one place to another that provides an energy efficient benefit, I would like to move and ask that my colleagues please support this bill. Thank you very much.
On the motion, are there any speakers? Okay, so on the motion then to place Bill 234 as amended by the committee, then on third reading. Oh, Senator Pangilinan, you are recognized on the bill.
I just want to be very clear, Madam Speaker, and I read the bill, and is it the intent that the unit or the device can only be used in Tumon? No?
Senator Guthers, do you yield to a question? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Madam Chair, I don't think it's limited to Tumon. I think it's could be used in other areas that are appropriate.
And the reason why I ask that is because we're saying that tour operators shall limit tour customers to a maximum speed of 8 miles per hour while operating within Tumon Bay as defined by that. So this limitation of the 8 miles per hour and individuals who rent this is only in Tumon. And if these tourists decides to take it beyond Tumon, they're not limited to the 8 miles per hour? And in fact, they can take it outside of Tumon.
Yes, it can be taken outside of Tumon. I don't think the devices will go faster than 12 miles an hour.
Thank you very much. So on the motion then to place Bill 234, LS, as amended by the committee on the third reading file, are there any objections? No objections, so ordered. Senator Gutherds, you're recognized on Bill 357.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and colleagues. Good morning. Bill 357 is a product of a lot of work from a lot of folks. And this bill, Madam Chair, basically is important for the Guam community. As all of you know, the Guam community, like other places in our country and in the world at large, is facing many economic challenges. And among them is the increasing difficulty for young families to buy a home and own a home of their own. As you know, the mortgage meltdown in the 50 states and the rapidly escalating cost of living around the world, including our little island, has pushed many families out of contention for home loans. A system development charge, which the Guam Waterworks Authority wants to impose for water and wastewater hookups on new home constructions on Guam really does threaten the ability of many of our people to realize their dream of home ownership, particularly those at the moderate and low income levels. So in order to promote and facilitate home ownership on our island, this bill really relates to any resident of moderate or low income who desires to construct or purchase a home to have the opportunity to do so by amortizing the proposed system development charges that the Guam Waterworks Authority has petitioned the Public Utilities Commission to approve. In other words, an intended home builder or homeowner who qualifies would pay an amount no greater than 1% of the financed amount of the residence as their initial payment for their system development charge. And the guidelines that would determine whom might be considered a moderate or low income person are the same guidelines that guide the Guam Housing Corporation. And that definition currently is that it would apply to a family whose income does not exceed 120% of the median income for Guam. Basically what this bill does is it allows qualified person or family to pay a small part of the system development charge and amortize the balance over a 15-year period, which would appear on their monthly water bills over that 15-year period. I understand the Public Utilities Commission has not yet voted on GWA's petition for the system development charge, but in the event the Public Utilities Commission does approve that petition, I feel it's very important for us to provide a mechanism to help out young, moderate, and low-income families so that they can still build their homes and not have to come up with the estimated $6,000 to $8,000 at GWA at one time. And that is the intent of the bill. Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Gutherts. On the motion, Senator Tina Muñoz Barnes, here I recognize.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Speaker, I just want to stand and rise in full support of this measure, and I think that as we look at opportunities to make it easier for our families who can afford the housing and being able to get this kind of infrastructure into without burdening them. I think this is a good start. I'd like to ask the sponsor if I could be a part of this sponsorship and be included as the number 4th sponsor.
On the motion then, without objections, ordered.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
So on the motion then to place Bill 357 as amended by the author on third reading, are there any objections? Would you like to speak, Senator Espaldon, on the motion?
Madam Speaker, I'm looking at the bill right now, Madam Speaker. I just wonder if we just even take a 30-second recess just to, there are some concerns that I'm looking at that were voiced at the public hearing, and I just want to make sure that those, I just want to see whether those concerns were addressed in the substitute version of the bill.
Okay, we're going to take a minute recess.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
We talked to Guam Housing Corporation, and we're trying to be consistent with what they do in terms of designing low and middle income families. So we came up with the 1%.
Right, but in
Value
terms,
of the house.
but in terms of implementing that whole thing, it would seem to make more sense just to have a straight
$1,000 deposit.
$1,000, because if they had to go in and, and calculate, not everybody can calculate 1%, that boggles my mind.
Well, I'll tell you, I would not object to an amendment. Can you make that amendment? That's fine. I'll support it.
Okay.
That's the only change, right?
Yeah, I just want to make sure, because, it's all about process.
Yeah, okay.
If it's 1,000,
That's
everybody
fine.
knows it's 1,000.
That's good. Please do it.
Okay, thanks.
You don't have a problem with me, because even if I don't like the bill, I always report out. I must hate the bill.
That's the compact. Oh no, is that the one I gave you?
Okay,
Oh, that's the waterworks. See, I brought down to
Yeah,
the,
then when I
for
tell
the
you,
moratorium.
But be very careful of my stuff here. Those are the important things. Okay. And tell Carlos, under the table, that brown thing is mine. That little thing. Yeah, under the table, that brown. And all the colors. Yeah, and tell Carlos, BJ, to get his desk. And, yes, and for that. So they can bring them. Tell them to say, oh, you know what? That's a fighting group. And just
on section 4.
Okay. Okay. Please, I'd be very happy. Yeah, we don't want that. Yeah, of course not. No. No, I agree. I'm comfortable with this. Okay. Good. So. Sure like to catch them. Oh, you guys are naughty. What do you do? Oh, I love it. It goes with my
Yes, that's what I.
that's cute. Good, I'll use it on my table. I'll bring it every day. When I'm happy, I'll use it. Make it crazy. Even batteries, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I have extra batteries.
Yes.
Thank you, man.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, thank you. Wow. Now they're really gonna.
But can we recess while they're copying everything? Can we leave? Oh, here.
It goes with my exact name. Right here. When I'm happy, when I'm. Sweet. It's a compliment to my you got mail.
You got mail, baby?
I know,
Sweet.
It says sweet. And I got plenty of batteries to last me for the whole year. Yes, it's gonna be right here at my table.
You got mail, baby.
Well, they made me turn it to vibrate, so now I got this. It's like
It's more noise.
and they gave me plenty batteries to last the whole year.
Yeah, for next
For the
Thursday.
best day of all.
You don't encourage her.
I love it. And I'll bring my harmonica too.
I know when I saw this, it goes great. You got mail, baby.
I thought you wanted your phone to be on silent mode.
But better yet, anytime your bill passes.
Quit encouraging her.
I think we're gonna find you.
Anytime your amendment gets considered.
I think, Frank, I said, I think we're gonna find you for giving her this. That was gonna put in the static mode that our phones and cell phones have to be on silent.
It's on vibrate already. No, don't touch my phone. Don't play around with my phone. It's on vibrate. No, leave it alone. Last time you touched it, I couldn't figure it out for 2 years. Couldn't make it work. You got mail. You got mail. No, the other one.
I'm done. No shop.
Well, I got a list. I'm pretty good. I haven't bought anything on the list, but I finally.
You got a list?
I finally completed the list. Now I just don't panic and find everything sold out.
I'm going tonight to the Midnight Madness.
Midnight Mass?
Madness. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to Midnight Mass at 7 o'clock in the evening at the hospital. Don't you love it? Where are you going? Midnight Mass. Where? What time? What time?
Where's Midnight Madness?
Midnight Madness is at on base, and then someone said Macy's has something tonight. So I said I was so bad because when you do that Salvation Army or the contribution thing, you get all these coupons. But Mads and me, son, and yeah, 25% additional from even if you have reduced prices, right? You still get that 20%. Giving it away to my kids. Then I went and I said, "Where's my? I thought I had some more in there." And they said, "No, Mom, you gave it up." I said, "Yeah, I gave all of it up. I gave it. I gave it to Kayla. I gave it to Cole. I gave it to Jason." And they said, "Because it really makes a difference. Because you get, take for example, you get 50% off, and then you get 25% off additional to that, and then what we did. So that speaker, that speaker."
He's bought a $20 rice cooker, really nice.
Yeah.
And then she said it was, after all that discounts, $25.
Yes, it's
$20.
I'm telling you, it's. But I don't want to stand in exchange for. I said,
It's
if
the line
Midnight
to
Ma-
check
yeah.
out. Okay.
We may have to amend it in the future. We'll do it.
Okay.
Okay. So just amend it. Yes,
Yeah.
make a minor amendment.
Yeah. On here, Jim, I was just gonna delete everything. If it's a commercial development, even if it's multi-family, we shouldn't allow this. We should just allow it to pay. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna delete all this. Because she's saying if it's sold to a,
Okay, that's, yeah,
it's already all done. They figured it into their construction price.
Please put it in ready, man. Yeah, I agree.
What I was telling Jim on that one section, one, the way it's written, it makes it incumbent upon the escrow. Because now, because the escrow agents have to comply with the law. So now, before they can be transferred, they have to make it. That's part of the escrow instructions that has to be done.
Yeah. And I was saying that, when, the way you want, if you wanted to capture it is that, there should be an affidavit attached to the deed or the mortgage when filed in that management. That,
And that can be part of the escrow instruction.
yeah. So, and then that way when they go to title search, they find this.
The other way, from it, is that this is going to impose a duty upon the landlord that they have to report it to
There's a couple of different ways of suggesting.
There's different ways, but I think right now, the way it's written, it makes it incumbent upon the escrow agents. And then the landlord can go after the escrow agents to pump up the dog.
Hey, Phil, it's a G with an E, not an I. Look at his checkbook. Just in case he's writing one to me.
And I went jogging this morning.
Oh, yeah? Much nicer now than the weight loss, right?
But you know what? When I got back, there were 3 dogs I found. Friendly dogs. I mean, really cute. They're like they want me to adopt them.
I hope you lock your gate.
No, I said, just stay there. If they're there tomorrow, then I'll find them homes. But it was strange. I mean, they just followed me, and I didn't know they were there. Around Manila, GCC Road, GW, and G, there's a lot of animal signs.
Yes.
I'll tell you, double sessions is hard. Wear and tear on the roads, and it's very dangerous. There's no night lights. There's no night lights by GW. No street lights. And a lot of kids, because they leave at night after sports activities.
No, I heard I was at somebody's house last night. And they were saying that now kids are being told they can't practice on
No, thank you. Thank you. You can't eat just one.
Past everything, it doesn't matter anyway. He's going to talk and be there the whole set. You sent me 40 bills and I had talked to you. I sit on it. Yep. Just send them all, and then everybody who's listening, you get your guys to go and say, hey, take mine out of the stack. Because pocket people all around.
Actually, what we'll do is we're just going to keep this in place and we're just not come back. I need to talk to GWA and but I think it's okay to pass it. It is.
He's gonna cancel his amendment for now.
Well, there's only one amendment that I have to make, and Ben's going to make an amendment also.
The legislature is back in session. Senator Spaldon on your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on page 3 of the bill, on lines 1 and 2, basically, such charge shall be assessed in additional. Excuse me, it would be on page 2, at the very bottom on line 24, and it runs all the way to, oh gosh, let me see. All the way to line number 3, the very first word constructed. If we could just delete, my amendment is to delete that section. Such charge should be assessed as initial amount equal to no greater than 1% charge should be assessed at initial amount equal to no greater than 1% of the financed amount of the residence being constructed. I would like to amend that to read that the charge shall be assessed at $1,000. The initial charge should be assessed at $1,000, and then continued on line 3, and the remainder of the charge will be amortized over a period of not to exceed 15 years. In essence, we're changing the 1%, Madam, of the initial charge to $1,000 straight, and that's basically.
There's too much talking in here, please. We need to hear the proffer of the amendment.
And that's basically to address the concerns that GW raised in terms of tracking the amount that is owed, or calculating that 1%, and then assessing the fee over 15 years at that point. As I understand from the author of the bill, the systems development charge for the homes would be anywhere between $6,000 to $8,000, and GWA basically their concern was that if we do it by percentage, depending on the value of the home, there's no real way to, I mean, there may be some difficulty in just tracking that. And they suggested an even amount of $1,000 as the initial assessment.
Okay, I'm going to need for you to repeat that to make sure that the clerks have that amendment. You don't have it in writing, do you? Is it something that's
No, actually, it's just a
easy?
motion to delete and just replace with $1,000.
Okay, so again, the motion is to
So
delete
the motion is on the bottom
page
of page 2, the sentence on line 24, starting with the word such, the last 2 words of line 24, it'll be such charge shall be assessed at an initial amount, and after that, it'll be $1,000.
So,
Wait,
the word such charge shall be assessed at an
initial amount
of
$1,000.
Of $1,000, period?
At $1,000, and then delete all the words after that, all the way up to line number 3 on the following page, and it will be continued on, and the remainder of the charge shall be amortized over a period of not to exceed 15 years. And bottom line, we're just changing the percentage of 1% of the total value to 1,000 charge straight across.
Okay, so then, again, to make it clear for the clerks, on page 2, line 24, such charge shall be assessed at an initial amount of $1,000,
comma, and then delete
equal to no greater than, continue on to page 3,
right.
lines 1, 2, and 3, where it says constructed, comma,
Right.
end there. Oh, those words are to be
are
deleted.
deleted, and then it picks up with the word
Then it
and the
picks up
remainder of the charge.
And the remainder of the charge.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
clerks, were you able to get that? Okay, so on that motion, are there any objections? No objections, so ordered.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That's all.
Okay. Senator Pangilinan, I understand you also have an amendment?
Yes, Madam Speaker. I'd like to just make an amendment on page 3 at line 18. Place a period after the word units and then delete everything after that up to line 23, so that that section would read ASDC applicability. The ASDC shall not apply to any commercial development involving the construction of multiple residential units.
Okay, on that amendment, are there any speakers? Any objections? No objections, so ordered. Are there any speakers then on the main motion? Okay, so then the motion is, Senator Cavo, did you say? Oh. So the motion then to place Bill 357 EC as amended by the author and further amended on the floor to be placed on third reading. There being no objections. Okay, very good. So pass. Wonderful. Now we are on Bill. Okay, I'm going back now to the ones that we do have committee reports for. Number 10 on the agenda, Bill number 129. And then after that, it'll be 296. I hope everybody, please make sure you have your copies. Oh, shoot. Okay, so let me skip that until I can go down. So let's go then to 296. Senator Pangilinan, you are recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I move that Bill 296, as amended by the author, be placed in the third reading file.
Okay, on the motion to accept, there being no
Well,
objections?
Yes.
Wait, to accept first.
Yes.
Okay, sorted. On motion to place?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that Bill 296, as amended by the author and accepted on the floor, be placed in the third reading file.
And would you like to briefly
I'd like to
list
go
the-
section by section.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. We're ready.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, very briefly, as we prepare for expansion in our economy with the promise and hope of the military expansion, plus, of course, trying to generate organic growth in our own economy outside of the military expansion, we find that the world has changed with regards to the different instruments and the different organizational structure of businesses in the world. And coming with that, it allows for greater flexibility for investors to organize themselves into different corporations, requirements for shareholders, ensuring that shareholders understand their rights under those organizational structures and so forth. And one of the things that has been severely lacking in our own mechanics of trying to build the business infrastructure for any kind of economic growth is our corporate law and the general corporate law of Guam. And this bill would add a new Part 5 to Title 8, Division 1 of the Guam Code Annotated to provide for the new Guam Business Corporations Act under the laws of Guam. And so the bill outlines the different requirements for setting up businesses. It modernizes the general corporations law in Guam, and it protects shareholders in that they understand what their rights are, the notices required for meetings and actions of corporations, and what governs those corporations, that these corporations must file of course, even today, must still file their bylaws and their corporate organization and corporate documents with the Department of Revenue and Tax. It allows for service of these corporations should they not be physically present on Guam, that the Department of Revenue and Tax and serve for notices so that shareholders have some method of enforcing their rights under their corporation documents and so forth. The bill was a result of collective work of some of the individuals and attorneys in our community that are intimate with corporate laws and documentation. And we had a public hearing. It was very fruitful. The reason why the bill is as amended by the author is that after the public hearing, we continued to receive input from the different attorneys with specific interest to this. And we incorporated those concerns in the final bill. And I ask that the body consider this bill. I think it is timely and much needed, and will assist Guam in its economic growth by allowing a more business-friendly environment that still has the protections of the shareholders and investors on Guam. And so I ask my colleagues for their support. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Speaker Van. Are there any speakers on the motion? So on the motion then, yes, Senator Spaldon, you are recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. If the author would just yield to a question, and only because this is a very voluminous document and bill, and haven't really examined it thoroughly, Senator, if you could probably just highlight maybe some of the changes that we're talking about that are being made to the corporate laws of Guam. I mean, because I'm sure there's some substance in here. There's probably a lot of it that's still within the code, and some revisions have probably just been made. And I was just trying to look for what those substantive changes may have been. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Speaker Ben, you.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. The bill basically sets out the structure of the organization and the incorporation documents. It allows for example, corporations to own shares of other corporations. It allows for the formation of holding companies that become the corporate entity over and above the other corporate subsidiaries, and allowing this holding company to operate these holding companies. So it's kind of like doing business as in different fashion under a umbrella corporation. So it allows for that. It defines emergency powers, for example, in that should there be a natural disaster and so forth, and the business needs to respond to the economic conditions of that, it allows the shareholders or the corporate board of directors to take action to respond to that without the general notice that goes with regards to general and ordinary and regular meetings of the corporation. It allows corporations to take testimony, quorums and votes in electronic and teleconference rather than physical presence. It makes it clear that those are allowed, and those actions by the corporations are in fact then legal. It identifies things like the formation of voting trusts, and that the shareholders can give their proxy to a voting trust, and makes that clear that that's an allowable fact if it's part of the incorporation documents. It requires and continues to require the filing of annual reports of the corporation, the changes in ownership, and so forth, the annual meetings and the special meetings. It takes a look at the when a corporation acquires its own shares, how do you treat those shares on the corporate books, and whether or not those shares once tendered for repurchase by the corporation, by the individual shareholder. It sets up the timeline for what happens if the corporation doesn't exercise its right to purchase those shares, that they revert back to the owner of those shares, and he continues to have the full voting rights of those shares, even though he's tendered them for sale to the corporation itself. It answers the issue of fractional shares and those how you treat that. The other areas is it defines the directors and what positions those directors can hold, and it defines that when a director can be an employee and differentiates his actions between a director action and an employee action in terms of functioning within the corporation. Notice requirements, staggered terms of the directors, things like that. The meeting requirements, the requirement for the filing of amended articles and bylaws at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. It clarifies, things like official copies of articles, directorships, and so forth. And makes it clear that that you can have copies as long as they're certified. And sometimes you need these directorship papers for entering into bank loans, letters of credit, and so forth. And it allows it protects the corporation as well as the lenders on one end and so forth by what is exactly going to be an official copy of that directorship, so that there's greater confidence that the transaction has been approved by the board and things like that. When you can increase quorum so that directors can't just arbitrarily decide to increase quorums and so forth. So those are the major changes. It really is a lot of organizational and regulatory actions that these corporations can take, and it places it within our statutes so that they're very clear, and that these shareholders have not only the protection of the articles of incorporation and their rights under the articles of incorporations and bylaws, but that it sets aside when those are violated by making sure that they conform to the statutory requirements. So those are the major. It's really a lot of technical and organizational setting out of these organizational requirements in statute, so that all of the investors and those that deal with Guam corporations can be assured that they're dealing with valid and legal entities. So,
Senator Espaldon, do you feel that?
Well, no, in fact, I appreciate that explanation and the description of some of the changes that are made, because I do believe that the corporate laws here in Guam have had to be updated. And again, I know that the good senator from Barragata has always been very diligent about the work that he produces, and I'm going to trust that the work that is contained in here definitely reflects the perhaps the necessary changes to corporate law and the structure of it. And I guess if there are any problems, we will definitely hear from the community at large, in which we can address later on. I do have one question for the good senator, though. Are these revisions modeled after any other laws?
Model corporations law.
Okay.
Modeled after that. And just to add a little bit of more comfort, although I've worked extensively in this, as I mentioned, we've had the benefit of the knowledge and the history of the practice in corporate law by attorneys in our community, such as Mark Cowan, Ron Maroney, John Brown from General Counsel for Payless, Danny Rapadas, and other attorneys that have sent in their comments and review over the months that this has been out there in the community. So.
He's closing.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm definitely satisfied with the explanation. Thank you.
Senator Eddie Calvo, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have no problems with the bill. I rise in support. And I do know that we have a very old and antiquated corporate laws going back, dating pre-World War II. I do have, and again, I wasn't privy to some of the changes that occurred after the hearings, and I did have some questions, and if the author would yield. A couple of the questions. Number one, I remember there was an issue because there are already corporations that are incorporated under a certain bylaws, and there was a concern at the time that how do you make this transition? You have new companies or mergers, and again, applying now to this new corporate code. Then there was an issue on how do you transition that, what happens in these corporate mergers, and again, maybe if the senator could enlighten me on that.
Senator
Yes.
Ben?
Yes, the bill proposes that any corporation that's formed after the passage of this law are going to conform to this statute. It also says that mergers and acquisitions that occur after this would conform to this statute. Those existing corporations would be allowed to continue to exist under the existing corporate statute until their term and their life is expired or renewed. And it's addressed in a section of the bill that is in it's in Chapter 17 in the transitional provisions
What page?
of these corporations. Chapter 17 is
The final.
page 129.
Senator Calvo?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Okay, that answers the first question. Second, the second question, and I guess what now we are in a situation with the current laws that there's a lot of ambiguity in if there are certain bylaws by a certain corporation, there may be silence in current bylaws. My understanding of this bill, once enacted in law, if a certain corporation adopts a certain set of bylaws, if there is silent in a certain areas, then these provisions are enacted.
That's correct.
Okay.
The general business corporations law continue to be in effect, and this would supplement that. And because of the fact that we have general or corporations that have incorporated under that statute, and it's we don't want to change the rules for those individuals because they would have to come back and make all sorts of amendments. But yes, if it's silent, then if it's addressed in this bill, it will apply here. Yeah.
And again, that is I'm in favor of this bill, but again, that was one of the issues I was also dealing with as a policymaker. Again, looking historically in Guam, there has been ambiguity, and with ambiguity, it allows for a lot of freedom when it comes to business incorporation and bylaws set up by a company being formed. But with that, when you have ambiguity, sometimes that's to an advantage for a corporation, but with ambiguity, it can lead to many legal issues that I think, at least now, we're putting some formalized structure. So again, Madam Speaker, I want to thank the author of the bill for his hard work and effort. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Calvo. Any on the motion, 296, if not, Senator?
Yes. Madam Speaker, I just want to also state for the record that, this is a a bill that's going to, as people work with it, may require some amendment and further clarity, and that's to be expected when you do something as expansive as something like this. And I've committed to all of the individuals who have reviewed this bill and have worked on it that if they see something that's required to be clarified, that I'm committed to working with that again and with the practitioners of law when they find those issues and presenting it before this body again. So it's quite expansive, and so you would expect to find, maybe a comma here changes the meaning, and we didn't catch it this time around. But nothing, I think, that would be of great substance that would make this unworkable in terms of the work that's been done with it. So we will continue to be open to examining this, not just now, but in the future, as we continue to evolve in the world of commerce and the global economy. So thank you very much, and I thank my colleagues.
On the motion to push 296 to the voting file, without objection, motion carries. We are now on Bill 129. Speaker Wampat, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, Bill 129 was actually introduced very early on in this term, and we had a public hearing, and we were waiting to hear from also members. Oh, I'm so sorry. You're right.
Yes.
Bill number 129, I move to accept Bill 129 EC as substituted by the Committee on Health, Human Services, and Homeland Security.
On that motion, without objection, motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also like to make a motion then to place Bill 129 as substituted in the third reading, but with some discussion.
Please proceed, Senator Wampat.
Okay, thank you again, Madam Speaker. As I started to say earlier, is that this was introduced early on, and what had prompted this was several problems that's been happening with some of the board members, but more importantly is that there were concerns that this particular board had not had a change over in any of its members, so they don't have a term limitation. They were serving since time immemorial, I suppose. And some of the testimonies that came in, and they are attached, I know many, although they may be a template of amendments, but the concern was actually having a staggered term for the membership. One of the things that some of the members themselves who do sit in the board is that they do not mind some of the changes, but the appointments of new members, but they wanted to make sure that there would be continuity, so they have asked us that at least we consider doing a staggered term for those who will be serving, so appointments will be made, so then you would have a 4 members for a term of 3 years, and then the remaining members for a period of 5 years, and then the last amendment is no board member shall serve more than 2 consecutive terms. That's it. And I ask my members, our colleagues, for their support.
Thank you, Speaker Wampat. On the motion, on 129, Senator Pangilinan, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I guess the only concern I have is to ensure that the board can function and that the business of the board can continue. And the bill on page 2 basically says all members on the board shall be terminated on December 31st, 2008, meaning you have 0 members on that board. And then the appointments coming would be made by the governor. And I just wanted to see if, what's the plan if the governor takes 3 months to appoint and so forth. So I'm a little concerned about that because of, really, it's just been hard. We have the experience. There are many, many vacancies on boards and commissions. especially those that are not as are as high profile. And so I just want to make sure that we're able to have a board and we're able to have it conduct business, and the way this is structured, it guarantees that there's no board after December 31st and doesn't address what happens when business needs to be conducted and the governor doesn't appoint any new members for any significant length of time. So I'm concerned about that on the bill. Thank you.
Senator Pangilinan, are you offering to proffer an amendment on this, or?
No, I'm saying if I'm concerned about that and would like the author maybe to address, if she wishes to, that concern, or if she's not concerned about it and doesn't think it's going to be a problem, then we'll just have to rely on that assurance.
Okay, thank you, Senator Pangilinan. Senator Frank Blas, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, and I recognize and I understand the concern brought on by the good senator from Barragata. And I had a discussion with the author of the original bill. I want to clarify that. And with regards to the appointment of all current, if there was somehow we can add language here that these, although that they terminate in December 31st, 2008, that actually that the termination will be based on whether the appointment of new board members. So can I have a 30-second recess? 30 seconds.
There's no objection. We'll be in recess for 30 seconds.
The appointment of current members shall terminate, shall not give it a date, but as soon as the other members have been appointed. Because they can serve. Yeah, you're right. So it does not continue on, so to give the governor.
30 days from December, say 30 days from December 31st, 2008.
Yeah, you're right, yeah.
I don't know, but I'm just afraid that so we're going to take chicken.
Yeah, and there's nobody there, and then all they have to do is say, well, we have no doctors and nurses because the legislature abolished all those guys, and there it is. Right? Yeah, we don't want to get to that.
But Mike said that of course he wanted to appoint some, but he just didn't have time. He said, I don't know why. But
So do you want to keep it enforced like this?
no, I think what we should do is probably say like up to, shall terminate like 30 days, upon, the submittal of, new appointees.
How do you transize?
Well, actually, I think he will appoint. Yeah. But let's just put down
And he can
then that they
reappoint
would.
the same people.
Yeah, you're right. And then if he does, then, it says here 4 of them will serve 3 years and so on. So,
Like I said, you're not concerned about it. Yeah, if you want to be proactive.
yeah, I'll just work with Mike to make sure that he appoints. Change the date.
June to like June or something.
Well, that's too long. How about, us? Yeah, 3 months or something.
March. Better
Yeah.
the first of the year. Makes it
So the appointment of all current members of the board shall terminate 60 days after enactment. 60 days. Okay, Frank, so go ahead and do that then.
Invito pag-irit.
Yeah, but then how does when does he start to appoint?
Whenever.
So he starts, starts searching right now.
He can appoint even before the expiration.
Yeah, exactly.
He can appoint even before the expiration.
So the appointment of all current members of the board shall terminate 60 days upon enactment. Okay?
But then you want to say all appointments made to the board on enactment of this?
Yeah, all appointments, you're right. Board. So delete beginning on January 1 shall be subject to. Yeah, so take that date out too.
think I got it.
The legislature's back in session. Senator Frank Blas, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, again, after discussion with our colleagues here, I move to make an amendment to the language contained on page 2, starting line 4. Delete the words, the appointment of all, or delete the words on December 31st, 2008, and say, and it shall now read, the appointment of all current board members shall terminate 60 days upon enactment of this law.
Again, before, okay, 60 days upon enactment.
Or
Yep.
after?
I'm sorry, what was it, 60 days upon enactment?
Yeah.
Senator Blas, the amendment starting from line 4 would read, the appointment of all current members of the board shall terminate 60 days upon the enactment
Of this law.
of this law.
Or, according to, and I'll actually change the word upon to after.
After enactment?
You want to go ahead and read it again, Senator Blas?
The appointment of all current members of the board shall terminate 60 days after the enactment of this law.
On that amendment? No objections? Motion carries.
Madam Speaker, now for the second amendment, so that it does, is in the next sentence, it should read, all appointments made to the board upon enactment of this law. And strike out beginning on January 1st, 2009.
Can you go ahead and read that again, Senator
So
Frank
it's-
Blas?
So it should read, all appointments made to the board upon enactment of this law shall be subject to the advice and consent of the legislature, and go on, appointments made shall, it continues on.
On that amendment, are there any speakers? Vice Speaker Shimizu, you're recognized.
No, thank you, Madam Speaker. I just wanted to suggest that you don't need to say all appointments to the board upon enactment. You just say all appointments to the board shall be subject to the advice and consent. That's all.
That's
that
fine.
will be.
That's fine. So it's just striking out the words
Yeah,
beginning on January 1st, 2009.
9, yes.
Just striking out the words beginning January 1st, 2009.
Okay, with that clarification.
That will clarify it. Yes, ma'am.
So all appointments made to the board
Shall be subject to the
shall be
advice.
subject. Okay, on that amendment, no objections. Motion carries. Senator Blas, you still have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That's actually everything. I hope that helps to clarify the concern, as I am too concerned too after reading it too. And I appreciate and I thank the good senator from Barragata for bringing that up. Thank you.
Buen provecho. On the main motion, Vice Speaker Shimizu, you're recognized.
Madam Speaker, the members of boards and commissions are really citizen volunteers, devote their time to this. I have no problems with the staggered of terms. I just wanted to make it clear in my mind that this bill in no way restricts the governor's powers to appoint or reappoint current members, because it still goes through the advice and consent. People can come in and testify for or against, as they have done in this bill. A very large number of form letters were sent in supporting the term limitation, so that no recipients of the powers of the boards and commissions do not feel that a permanent board and member, it doesn't become so powerful, and that their power is not checked, because the membership is for life. So this is a good bill, because it gives the public opportunity to be citizen volunteers and to participate. But as we all know, there are a lot of boards that are vacant simply because of the fact that, or for whatever reason, but staggering that board versus that of a lifetime board members. I don't know if there is any other boards that have that distinction of being a lifetime board member. If so, I think the next 30th Guam Legislature, the different oversight chairs can look and take a stock and inventory to see what are the statutes on citizen volunteers to boards and commissions, and try to identify those that, for whatever reason, does not have some sort of beginning and an end, and can also have a beginning and an end based on the process of advice and consent of the governor. So thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to make that comment.
Thank you, Senator Shimizu. Anybody else on the main motion, Bill 129? If not, move to put Bill 129 in the third reading file for voting. If there's any objections, no objection. Motion carries. We're going to go ahead and take a 1-minute recess.
James, I can tell all the people are not going to talk over the next couple minutes.
Really? You can pick them up and bring them over here? 3 for $1. I remember a couple of years back, it was like 3 for $1, like cheaper, and then it went up to like 5 for $2, like 5, and then at 250, like what, 250?
Senator Rory Respicio, you're recognized on Resolution 178.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Senator Respicio.
Madam Speaker, notwithstanding the House rules, I move that we momentarily suspend discussion on this bill and that we revert back to motions.
On that motion, without objection, Senator Respicio.
Thank you. To move resolution on the... thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I move that resolution number 178 be placed at the top of the second agenda, and it's relative to urging Congressional Delegate Malin Berdalio to request from the Comptroller General of the United States a report on the status of claims and an update on the service delivery of health care to veterans in the Commonwealth of Northern Mariana Islands, Guam, and American Samoa. And it was introduced by Senator Cruz, Blas, and Gutherz.
On that motion, without objection, motion carries.
Doc?
No, I wanted.
Thank you. Notwithstanding the House rules, I move then that we go into the second reading file to entertain Resolution 178.
On that motion, without objections, motion carries. Senator Respicio, you're recognized. Senator B.J. Cruz.
Thank you very much. On the addition of your name, I move that Tina Munoz Barnes be added as the fifth. Madam Speaker, just very quickly, 10 years ago, the General Accounting Office, the Comptroller General, issued a report on the services provided to veterans. In the ensuing 10 years, we've almost doubled the number of veterans that have served in Africa, in Iraq, and in Afghanistan. And we've not done anything locally to address the needs of our veterans. And I believe the only way that we're going to be able to address that is if the Comptroller General comes back to Guam. And we're asking Congresswoman Berdalio to ask that the Comptroller General come back to Guam, review the services that we are or are not providing our thousands and thousands of veterans, and make a recommendation on how we can and properly should address these men and women who have worked so diligently and patriotically for our needs. So I ask support of the membership to pass Resolution 178, asking Congress or a Congresswoman to to get the Comptroller General to issue another report. It's been 10 days since the last one was done. Thank you.
Anybody else on Resolution 178?
Point of
Senator
order,
Respicio.
Madam Speaker?
Yes.
I believe the gentleman made a motion to add you as the co-sponsor, and to amend that to add Vice Speaker Shimizu. You didn't entertain the motion, right?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
Thank you. And on that motion, without objection, motion carries. Senator, Vice Speaker Shimizu, would you like to speak on Resolution 178?
No, just to have me as the sponsor. First.
Okay, with that,
Can I be number 15?
be number 15 on that motion. Without objection, motion carries. Would you like to move it down to voting? Down the.
I'd like to move that Resolution 178 be moved to voting file.
Without objection, Resolution 178 is on the voting file. We are, Senator Respicio, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I move to recess until 3:30 this afternoon. Wait, are we ready?
Is your bill on the...
I withdraw my motion to recess. I believe the speaker... Want to recess?
There it is. No, there it is. No, it won't take long. It won't take long, just like his bill. Look at how quick it was. It didn't take
Speaker Wampad, you're recognized. We are now entertaining Bill number 248.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to make a motion to accept Bill 248 LS as further substituted by the Committee on Education, General and Omnibus Affairs.
On that motion, are there any objections? Without objection, Senator Speaker Wampat?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to make a motion to place Bill 248 LS third reading file as substituted, further substituted by the committee on third reading file. But I'd like to just discuss it briefly to let my colleagues know exactly what are some of the further substitution.
Speaker Wampat, please proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what I've done here in deliberating with many of our colleagues and the concern about wanting to be able to extend this even beyond just having to create as an alternative program, an alternative form of operating the public school system by creating what we call the Guam Academy charter school, where we're able then to hold schools established under this chapter accountable for meeting measurable student educational standards. In the public hearing, one of the ladies a Chamorro study instructor, and as a matter of fact, a founder of a Chamorro school, was talking about a Chamorro language immersion program, and that is one of the amendments that's actually included in the bill. And this whole purpose of that is to help to preserve, protect, the language and the culture, by immersing the students in the Chamorro language in class activities with math, science, social studies, history, and other areas. The other is, and in particular, I take you to page 5, is other areas of focus for these academies are areas such as the fine arts, performing arts as well, the high school academy, and most recently, all of our high schools actually gone through this training that was provided by NASP and PREL. And then there's the need, because of what's happening right now, is to actually have like an information technology program, criminal justice that would feed right into our community colleges, that these are some of the focuses in which these type of schools could actually take place. There are a process, of course, for filing and who will be involved, all that, and what the percentage is. And what I've actually done here is, and I was actually told by several people that the percentage was, really high at 60%. And I know what it's like to actually try to introduce a program to get it implemented in a school, and I did this with the True Middle School concept, where I had to work really hard to show, of course, what the changes will be in order to gain support from my parents, from the teachers, and from the students, and 60% really is a very high number. If there are any new schools, then the hopes that they would consider then chartering the new schools. And further on, I think that there's also a requirement that there be a method, or in doing audits, there will be also a method in which they'll be able to identify school. There's the time frame in which the petition will be able to go to the Board of Education, and in order then for them to file the petition. So there's a time frame. It'll be in January. That's on page 8. So a schedule is actually set to be able to do this. There will be a public hearing, a number of days, also 45 days after the petition, in which then this could be established. Each one of the schools, they should have their own council members as well, and it's broken up in terms of who would be able to sit in the charter, in the council. Then there's a maximum total number really in which there could be these academy charter schools, and that it should not exceed 7, and that at least 2 of them will be in the elementary schools, 1 in the middle and 1 in the high school, and then possibly 3 non-converted public schools will be authorized. And then the others are just guidelines in terms of setting up the name, the property application fees that will be set. These are all going to be controlled by the Board of Education. They'll be setting up, the guidelines for all this based on what is written here. So I think that's, basically it, Madam Chair. And I hope that my colleagues in here would consider, of course, supporting this bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Speaker Wampat. On the motion, Senator Eddie Calvo.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise in support of this bill. Actually, I'm a bit surprised that our Speaker introduced this particular piece of legislation. In other communities in the United States, certain constituencies, such as the unions and the large governmental education bureaucracies, have always been, how would you say, impediments towards the decentralizing of our public education system and the empowering of our individual schools. And I understand the issues where, again, when power is concentrated in certain areas, there is a reluctance to delegate those responsibilities or those powers to other entities. But I think this is the way to go. It's a very progressive piece of legislation, and I think it will allow for our educators and our administrators in our public education, and the way it's set up for a public education system, to be the best that they can be, and not being held to all this thick bureaucracy that impedes their ability to improve their individual schools in which they work in and which they teach in. I think it's a great bill. I'm asking for the support from my colleagues in it, and again, I congratulate the Speaker. It takes a lot of courage. So, Madam Speaker, you have my bill. You have my support on this. I do have a question, and if the author of the bill will yield, it's just one question. And I'll state the question. It's in page 12 in U, section U, or provision U. An academy charter school shall not hire a for-profit management company to operate the school. And I have no problems with this. I'm just wondering too if there is an opportunity for the school to hire a top-notch management firm to run the finances and the operations of the school, then wouldn't that be advantageous? And maybe there's a reason for this. I'm not objecting to that particular area there. It's just that, I do know that there are other schools in the States that are chartered and that have the opportunity and the flexibility to hire a management team that may be incorporated. So, and of course, I'm not too sure if they're for profit or not, but maybe if she could just explain the rationale behind provision U. I'm not against it. I think this is a very good bill, but I would like to maybe get an understanding of that particular provision.
Speaker Wampat, would you like to yield?
What page? Page 12, line 12.
Line
Academy
12.
charter shall exercise exclusive control over its expenditures, administration, personnel, and instructional methods within. Is that the one?
Page 12, line 12, subsection U.
There you go.
An academy charter shall not hire for a profit management company to operate the school.
Are you reading the right one? You're right. Did you get
As
the new
further
one?
substituted.
Oh, wait, let me look.
So it's in.
I'm sorry. God, I have so many copies already. Page
And
12.
just for my, in fact, I have a daughter that just came back
Academy
from.
charter school shall not hire
in the-
for-profit management.
Speaker Wampat, I'm just going to let Senator
Let me
Calvo
repeat the
finish
question,
before you
yeah.
answer.
And I'm not against this provision. I really like this bill, and I want to allow for those vested interests within the schools, which are the parents, the administrators and the teachers to be given this nimbleness, this ability to craft and mold this school as they best see fit. That particular subsection there, I was just going to ask the question, is there a reason for that? There have been examples in other, especially post-secondary education in the United States, in universities where there is management teams that are hired. In fact, most cafeteria services are through private for-profit companies that run most private universities' cafeterias, and I think they are for profit. And I'm not against that particular provision, maybe. So I just like to get an understanding of the rationale behind subsection U.
Thank you.
Speaker
Yes,
Pat?
Yes, I will answer the question. And then I'll just give a little background as well, is that, for one thing, this is, a total, mind shift. And change, of course, is very difficult for a lot of people. And then the most important thing is to be able to try to protect as well the employees. So what's going to happen here technically is that you would do the conversion. You take an existing school, you convert them, everybody remains in the same system with the government of Guam. 3 years later after that, however, they can decide whether that they don't want to continue with that under that academy. They may want to then go right back to just the regular schools under GPSS. And then, other than taking on, if they want to be able to start to change, let's say, the terms of employment or salaries and things of that nature. Because technically, when you really look at some of these programs, a lot of these schools would have to end up writing a lot of grants as well, so that then they can use these monies to promote then either, let's say, attendance for teachers. This morning we had a public hearing where they have found that in some schools the teacher absenteeism was really, really high, and the children ended up in the cafeteria. And what some schools have done to address that is that, one is they'll either give like a monetary award to the students themselves who never missed a day of school. In addition, there could be bonuses as well for the teachers, and management will be able to do all that even with this program, but the monies are going to have to come from either some other sources. Now, to be able to protect as well then all those who are still in the system and who want to continue in the system, is that, and we don't want anyone to say, and that was actually being accused for having to take money out of the system. But then what this will do is that, everything will just be based on exactly what it is that all of the schools will be getting, and it's not for profit. There's actually no fees to enter these schools, a requirement that anyone who attend these schools would have to pay a fee, because these schools will have to take all of our children. They would not be able to pick and choose who will be able to attend that school, because if that school is being converted, then the children who would normally go to that school in that district will then be able to be in that program and not have to transfer elsewhere. I hope
Thank you, Speaker Wampat. Senator Cabo?
Yes, again, thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I understand her statements, and though, I probably would like more nimbleness, but hey, this is a big start, so I don't have a problem, and I will not object to that particular provision. I want to ask another question, and then
State your question, Senator Cabo.
And if the speaker can yield, or the author, on page 10, again, you have line 1, an academy charter school shall not charge an application fee and tuition. And I know the language now that incorporated in this substitute version, academy, deals with specifically areas such as our culture. And you have this Chamorro language immersion program, et cetera, et cetera. I'd assume then schools such as Muzao or Hurao, I think some of these institutions do charge some fee or tuition. I would again suppose then that they would not be able to apply for a charter based on this language, because they do charge some fee and tuition.
Madam Speaker, we will respond to that.
Please proceed, Speaker.
this is the same argument as well, is having to take monies out of the school system and bringing everybody else into the system, to be very selective with their children. Like I said, if the school is to be converted, then all of the children in that area would automatically be attending that school, unless, of course, the parent just decides that they just totally don't want them there. And that is why there is no application fee, and there will be no tuition charge of the children. Now, for any kind of program that a school will offer that would require materials, supplies, or equipment outside of just the way our schools currently do with, like, for example, arts or the industrial arts or home economics, and then whatever projects they're going to be working on, the children provide and pay a fee for that. It's a shop fee, and whatever they use, the final product, all goes back to the students, whether it's food to be consumed or an actual arts and crafts product that they would work on and actually take home with them. So those kind of fees are totally different that are normally used to supplement some of the things that are actually taking place in the classrooms. But in terms of application fees, you're right, and tuition fees, they're not, and that means if anyone wants to do this and they want to be able to do it for profit or charge a fee, they can. They would not be able to qualify.
Okay, thank you very
Senator
much.
Cabo?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. That answers some of my questions.
Okay, on the motion, Vice Speaker, and then you're recognized, Vice Speaker.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I was looking at this bill, and there's two boards within the charter school. One, as I read here, was the Board of Trustees for the charter school. And then you also have a council for the charter school. If the author would yield, can she explain to me
Go ahead, please
the interaction and the relationship between the Board of Trustees? And I think it's on page page 12, and then after that also the council. See, it says Board of Trustees of a charter school. There is hereby established Board of Trustees. We have Board of Trustees. They similar to that of the University of Guam, they're governing boards. They are entrusted with the running of the charter school, and I think they also have a fiduciary responsibility. How does that interact with the other charter school council? How do they interact, and do they complement one another?
Thank you. Speaker Wampat, would you like to yield?
Yes, yes, Madam Speaker. Oh. Hello?
You're on.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, we have to remember the umbrella board will be the Board of Education, where all these applications and petitions would have to go to them. Once they have been granted that or authorized by the board, then when you come down to the school system, then the school itself then now would have its own Board of Trustees. And yes, they do have a fiduciary responsibility then now to that school, primarily because in order to make sure that they fulfill all of the goals in which they have stated to like, let's say, increase students' test scores or reduce the attendance rates of students, then they do have that governing role that they would take, because then they will then hire the principal of the school, who would make sure then that in the end as well is that then the principal then would hire the teachers in that school system. And this morning I think you heard just that, and one of our colleagues had said is that it actually is holding everyone accountable, and that was one of the very first thing at the beginning of the bill that actually talks about the purpose. One of the purpose of this academy, charter schools, is that we want to be able then to hold everyone accountable. And by doing so, it's got to start from the top, which is the Board of Trustees, down to the principal of the school and to the teachers who are going to be in the classrooms.
Thank you. Vice Speaker Shimizu.
Yeah, my question was specifically, I had the opportunity just to chat with the speaker last night, and says the charter school still falls under the Guam policy GPSS. That's the existing board that we have. And then here in page 12, it says Board of Trustees of a school. And they say establish a Board of Trustees. The trustees of an academy school shall be elected or selected. Now, when we say elected or selected, is that through the election process to be selected? It says it shall be elected or selected pursuant to the charter granted to the academy charter school. That's one point. And then it shows what the composition of the Board of Trustees. And then it says, then on B, it says, in the case of the first trustees of an academy charter school to be elected or selected after the date on which the school is granted a charter. The school is granted a charter from the GPSS, then we go and elect or select a Board of Trustees. So that's a second layer. Then it says the trustees of the academy shall be the fiduciary of the school and set overall policies for the school. So that also, does that, the GPSS still hold the fiduciary as well as this new Board of Trustees? The trustees may make final decisions on matters related to the operation of the school consistent with the charter of the school and other applicable laws. And then it goes on. And then back on page, where is that? Where it has the console. Oh, here it is.
Page 15.
Right. It says here, it's 15 and 16, the Guam Academy Charter School Council. So once this is now within the school system, the council. Am I correct? Okay, so then the Academy School Council, then you have the membership and terms, and shall consist of the following members. This is to provide I'm assuming the principal. The council is to provide the principal, and the superintendent of education is also a non-voting member in the council level, not necessarily on the trustees level. And then it says the voting members shall be appointed by the governor and confirmed by the legislature. And the voting members shall serve 3 years. The council shall elect their own chairman. Members of the council are not eligible to get compensation, clerical and administrative. So I'm just wondering, there's 3 layers, and I'm trying to see how that interacts. You have the GPSS that grants the charter. You have the Board of Trustees, which governs the charter school. And then you have the council that's appointed by the governor and confirmed by the legislature. I'm wondering how would that all interact in terms, and if the speaker could maybe explain it to me, because you have, can the Board of Trustees override what the council does? Can the council disregard what the Board of Trustees, and then can the GPS rule on that? It's just 3. I support the intent. You know, like they say, the road to heaven is filled with good intentions. It's getting there, and I'm trying to figure out how the 3 would interact, because each and every one of them have their powers given by this legislature. So I'll just wait, and maybe the speaker can just enlighten me. But other than that, the concept of the charter school is intact. I'm just wondering if we have too many governing boards involved in the council, or too many councils, or too many policies, and I don't know how the mix will work.
Thank you, Vice Speaker. Speaker Wampat, would you like to yield?
Yes, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, what you would see, is that you have the current Board of Education which are elected by the people, and then from that Board of Education, then they will create this Board of Trustees, because then one of the things that this Board of Trustees will be doing specifically will be just to monitor and to keep track of the academies that are submitted their plan to make sure then that they are then adhering to it and meeting their goals. From them, then once they're already in place and they've granted then the petition, that then the school would have then its own council separately, and this is like it's considered like a local level and the closest level to the schools, and the only time in which the Board of Trustees will be able to reel in this council is that if there's a violation of any of the laws that they're supposed to be adhering to. One of the things, for example, is that they cannot discriminate against any one of our students for any one of those other areas that we always have addressed. The other would be to make sure that they fall within the federal guidelines, that they do not turn, like for example, that they must service children with disabilities, that they do not turn any student away, they do not handpick, their students. Those are some of the things. And if the Board of Trustees sees that the council then is actually violating any of these laws, then of course they can reel them in and declare their charter null and void, or revoke it for non-compliance.
Okay, thank you. I guess let me just try to zero in specifically on a question. GPSS grants the charter school. Am I not correct? Yes. Okay, so, and it's not the Board of Trustees that will revoke that charter school. It is GPSS. Because what I heard
Speaker
earlier
Wampat,
is that
would you
the
yield?
Board of Trustees will be the one to revoke.
Yes, because they're going to be set up basically as the trustees for these academies, and then upon if there's any violation, then of course they would be in the position to make the recommendation then finally to revoke.
Okay, so they don't revoke. They make the recommendation. I'm trying to read where specifically that the powers are granted to the Board of Trustees. I'm trying to help this along. If that's the intent, that the Board of Trustees would have the power for revocation after it's given by the GPSS. So I don't see that. The second part, you may need to look at that. The second part on page 12, line 27, it says the trustees of an academy charter school shall be elected. Where is this election going to occur?
It's not what we're typically used to of a general type election, but this is just an election amongst the membership from the board, where they may appoint somebody. I'm trying to find that particular section, or elect somebody amongst themselves then who would be sitting in the Board of Trustees. It's just the way they are setting up right now, like individual committees to, let's say, for curriculum or discipline or facilities. Then this will be one of those that they themselves will create, and they could elect or select one of their membership to sit in that board.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I guess the question I had is that when I see elect, that who would appoint the Board of Trustees of a charter school, and once that appointment is made, they can elect or select among themselves. I think that's what you're telling me. So
yes,
where would the Board of Trustees here be?
It's the Board of Education who will then create this this board of trustees, and amongst themselves, yes, they would select or elect
Yes,
somebody amongst themselves.
where does that say in the bill?
Well, I'm
that
looking for it.
GPSS shall
Can we
select?
take a minute recess?
We're going to take a minute recess.
It's a governing.
Okay.
Yes, it's a governing board. Board of trustees.
Madam Speaker, I'm going to ask if we can take a lunch break then, and I understand that there's also going to be a public hearing, a continuation on Bill 299, so I'm going to make a motion to come back at 3:30.
On that motion to go into recess into 3:30 without objection, motion carries. We'll be in recess until 3:30 this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Prior to going into a recess, we were in discussion on Bill 248. There's still some issues that need to be addressed with your bill, and so I move that we suspend discussion on Bill 248.
Okay, on the motion then, without any objections, so ordered.
Madam Speaker, notwithstanding the House rules, I move that Bill number 348 be taken from the voting file back down to second for purposes of making an amendment.
On that motion, without any objections, so ordered.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. On Bill 348,
Yes,
Yeah.
but please continue.
I passed out an amendment on Bill 348. The legal counsel has advised us that it's beyond a technical amendment. The Director of Revenue and Taxation is responsible for issuing driver's licenses. However, it's the Director of the Department of Public Health and Social Services that deals with health permits. So I passed out a floor amendment that would add a new section to Bill 348, and it's beyond a technical amendment, so we have to address this in this fashion. And it basically just adds a new section, deferral of payment, and it authorizes the Director of the Department of Public Health and Social Services to provide for a 180-day extension upon their return, and this dealing specifically with health certificates. And I passed the amendment out earlier.
Okay, on the motion, is there anyone who would like to speak on the motion? Okay. Senator Respicio.
And then can I make a general motion that if there are other things that the legal counsel points out, that be corrected?
Okay, so we'll deal with the first.
I mean, beyond, well, she just pointed out that, how about the hunting fees? And I think that's the Director of Agriculture. So can I authorize the legal counsel to make the adjustment? Yeah. To make, I guess a general motion that for those fees such as the hunting and fishing licenses, well, no, we're just deferring it.
Can we first deal with this particular amendment first?
Okay.
Okay, so on the amendment, are there any speakers? No objections, and so ordered. And your other general amendment?
Yeah, Madam Speaker, there's another requirement in that bill that waives, that defers for 180 days the hunting and fishing licenses. And so I make a motion that the legal counsel be authorized to prepare another section to the bill that would reflect that change.
On that motion, Anyone would like to speak? Any objections on the amendment? No objections, ordered.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move then to place Bill 348 in the third reading file.
On that motion, without any objection, so ordered. We're, Sergeant at Arms, we need to get all of our members in. We're going to take a brief recess until we make sure all of the members are in before we start voting.
Do we know the order of the bills that we're voting on? Okay, thank you. Okay, that's the first one? And then what? 386, then what? Okay. Here. Three, five, eight. Wait. What's that? I'm sorry, now I'm lost.
Wait. After 359 is 392? Okay. Okay, and what's after 392? 234. 357. 296. 129. 158. 178. And then what? 348. Huh? That's affecting what we're going to vote. Yeah. So I want to make sure what the hell it is.
Huh? Okay. Yeah, he told me that it's in the computer, but he can't find it. Okay.
The legislature is back in session. Senator Respicio, recognize you.
Madam Speaker, I move that those bills that are in the voting file, I move to renumber them depending on which bills are ready to be voted on, and that we leave it to you to call those bill numbers.
Okay, on that motion, without any objections, or... Okay, so we're in the voting file. We have bill number 356. And I have the clerk to read the title. No, 356 was amended.
And on the floor. Well, yeah.
Yes. 356.
Bill number 356 LS, as amended by the author, introduced by J.P. Guthertz, B.J. Cruz, R.J. Respicio, T.R. Muñoz Barnes. An act to add a new Chapter 10 to Title 22 and a new Section 4119.1 to Chapter 4 of Title 4 of the Guam Code annotated relative to creating a military family leave act of Guam.
Roll call.
Senator Bloss. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Guthert. Senator Shijaki. Senator Lohan.
Madam Speaker.
Senator Muñoz Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
Yes. Senator Tenorio?
Madam Speaker,
Before
I
we
move
announce
to
the vote.
excuse Senator Jesse Lohan and Senator Forbes, Speaker Forbes.
Okay, on that motion then, without any objections, sorted. Okay. Bill number 356, LS, received 13 yeas and 2 excused absence. Bill 356, LS, is duly passed. Bill number 386.
Bill number 386 LS, introduced by E.J.B. Calvo, F.F. Blatz Jr., and others. An act to appropriate funds for the operations and maintenance of the Veterans Memorial Cemetery.
Roll call.
Senator Bloss. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Guthert. Senator Shijaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Muñoz Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
Yes. Bill number 386 received 13 yeas and 2 excused absence. Bill number 386 is duly passed. Substitute Bill number 387.
Bill number 387 LS, as substituted by the Committee on Finance, Taxation, Commerce, and Economic Development, introduced by E.J.B. Calvo, F.F. Blatz Jr., J.B. Espaldon, and others. An act to appropriate funds to the Mayor's Council of Guam from the Guam Highway Fund for village streets, maintenance, and beautification.
Roll call.
Senator Blas? Senator Calvo? Senator Benjamin Cruz? Senator Espaldon? Speaker Forbes? Senator Guthertz? Senator Shujaki? Senator Lohan? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Speaker Pangilinan? Senator Vespicio? Senator Shimizu? Senator Tenorio? Speaker Wampat?
Yes. Substitute Bill number 387, LS, received 13 yeas, 2 excused absence. Bill number 387 is duly passed. Bill number 384.
Point of order, Madam Speaker.
Please state your.
I believe the vote we just took on Bill 387, I believe there was a substitute version.
Yes, that's what I said, substitute bill.
Can you reread the title of the version that we voted on?
Will the clerk please read it?
An act, an act to appropriate funds to the Mayor's Council of Guam from the Guam Highway Fund for village streets, maintenance, and beautification.
It didn't say that. Not in the.
Okay, thank you, Madam Speaker. A point of order?
Please state your point of order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. What version did the clerk? I know that's just a title, but did we vote on the as substituted on the floor?
By the committee.
As substituted by the committee.
Yes, that's the one.
In the back.
And I did announce it as a substitute 387.
It's still the same.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to proceed. We are on Bill 384. I'll ask the clerk to please read the title.
Bill number 384, introduced by R.J. Respicio, B.J.F. Cruz, J.P. Guthertz, and others. An act to adopt the personnel rules and regulations for aviation-related positions unique to airport operations and certified technical and professional employees as required by PL 29-24 and as received by the Legislative Secretary of Mina 29 Legislature in Guam on November 7, 2008, and to make compensation and benefit adjustments for current employees effective on the first day of fiscal year 2009.
Roll call.
Senator Blas? Senator Calvo? Senator Benjamin Cruz? Senator Espaldon? Speaker Forbes? Senator Guthertz? Senator Shujaki? Senator Lohan? Senator Munya Barnes? Senator Palacios? Speaker Pangilinan? Senator Respicio? Senator Shimizu? Senator Tenorio? Speaker Wampat?
Pass.
Senator Blas? Senator Shijaki. Senator Palacios. Speaker Wampat.
Pass.
Senator Blas. Senator Shijaki. Speaker Wampat.
Pass. Bill number 384, EC received 8 yeas, 5 nays, 2 excused absence. Bill number 384 is duly passed. Substitute Bill number 388.
Bill number 388 LS, as substituted by the Committee on Finance, Taxation, Commerce, and Economic Development, introduced by F.F. Blas Jr., E.J.B. Calvo, J.B. Espadon, and others. An act to appropriate funds for the repair, renovation, and construction of the House Angels football field.
Roll call.
Senator Blas. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Guthard. Senator Shijaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Muna Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimbizo. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
Yes. Substitute Bill number 388 received 13 yeas, 2 excused absence. Substitute Bill number 388 is duly passed. Bill number 358.
Bill number 358 EC, introduced by V.C. Pangilinan. An act relative to setting restrictions on the Guma Tranquilidad housing facility in order to preserve the independent living environment for our Manamcos.
Roll call.
Senator Blas. Senator Blas, I'm sorry. No. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Guthard. Senator Shijaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Muna Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
Pass.
Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Senator Muina Barnes. Speaker Wampat.
Pass.
Senator Muina Barnes. Speaker Wampat.
Pass. Bill number 358, LS, received 2 yeas, 11 nays, 2 excused absence. Bill 358 failed to receive the required votes to pass. Substitute Bill number 251.
Bill number 251 ECA, as substituted by the Committee on Judiciary, Natural Resources, Infrastructure, and Cultural Affairs, introduced by Ray Tenorio, R.J. Respicio, J.P. Gutherts. An act to add a new Chapter 81 to Title 21 Guam Code annotated, relative to the deployment of broadband and telecommunications infrastructure on public rights of way.
Roll call.
Senator Bloss. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Gutherts. Senator Shijaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Muina Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
Pass.
Senator Bloss. Senator Espadon. Senator Shijaki. Speaker Pangilinan. Speaker Wampat.
Pass.
Senator Bloss. Senator Espadon. Senator Shijaki. Speaker Wampat.
Pass. Substitute Bill number 251, EC, received 8 yeas, 5 nays, and 2 excused absence. Substitute Bill number 251 is duly passed. Bill number 367.
Bill number 367 LS, introduced by Ray Tenorio, an act to amend section 58104 of chapter 58 of 12 GCA and items 3 and 4 of section 26401A of 11 GCA relative to creating tax incentives in the qualifying certificate program for the manufacture, distribution, and sale of alternative fuels and exempting such fuels from the liquid fuel tax.
Roll call.
Senator Bloss. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Gutherts. Senator Shijaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Muina Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
Pass.
Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Gutherts. Speaker Wampat.
Yes. Bill number 367, LS received 13 yeas, 2 excused absence. Bill number 367 is duly passed. Bill number 298.
Bill number 298 EC, introduced by J.B. Espaldon, Theo Munia Barnes, R.J. Respicio. An act to zone the previously unzoned lot number 5327 in the municipality of Dededo to light industrial M1 zone.
Roll call.
Senator Blas. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espaldon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Gutherts. Senator Sujaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Munia Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
No. No.
Senator Blas.
Bill number 298 EC received 11 yeas, 2 nays, 2 excused absence. Bill number 298 is duly passed. Substitute Bill number 360.
Bill number 360 EC, as substituted by the Committee on Health, Human Services, and Homeland Security. Introduced by E.J.B. Calvo. An act to add section 1811.5.1 to chapter 18 of title 10 of the Guam Code annotated relative to allowing Japanese licensed cosmetologists to obtain a special Guam cosmetology license to provide training at a recognized Guam School of Cosmetology, and to add section 1812.4.1 to provide for additional funds to be deposited into the Health Professional Licensure Fund for use by the Barbering and Cosmetology Board.
Roll call.
Senator Blas. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espaldon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Gutherts. Senator Sujaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Munia Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
Pass.
Senator Munia Barnes. Speaker Wampat.
Pass.
Senator Munia Barnes. Speaker Wampat.
Pass. Bill number 360 EC received 11 yeas, 2 nays, 2 excused absence. Bill number 360 is duly passed. (260) EC.
Bill number 260 EC as amended by the author, introduced by Ray Tenorio. An act to add a new Article 4A, Chapter 67 of 9 GCA relative to the use of a minor in a drug operation.
Roll call.
Senator Bloss. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Guthert. Senator Shizaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Muina Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
Yes. Bill number 260 EC received 13 yeas, 2 excused absence. Bill number 260 is duly passed. Bill number 359.
Bill number 359 EC, introduced by Dr. David L.G. Shibisu, Tina Muna Barnes, Judith T. Wampen. An act to add a new section 847 to Chapter 8 of Title I, the Guam Code annotated, to rename the Marisu Library to be the Rosa Agigi Reyes Memorial Library.
Roll call.
Senator Bloss. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Guthert. Senator Shizaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Muina Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
Yes. Bill number 359 received 13 yeas, 2 excused absence. Bill 395 is duly passed. Bill number 234.
No.
234.
The one with the amendments.
359. So now we are on Bill 234. 234. Okay.
Bill number 234 LS, as amended by the Committee on Public Safety, Criminal Justice, and Youth, introduced by J.P. Guthert, R.J. Respicio, T.R. Munoz Barnes, B.J. Cruz. An act to amend Title 16 Guam Code annotated, Chapter 1, Sections 1102, 1103, and 1104, and to add a new Title 16 Guam Code annotated, Article 4, Chapter 3, Section 3307.1, and to add a new Title 16 Guam Code annotated, Article 4, Chapter 3, Section 3308.1 to Section 3308, relative to the electric personal assistive mobility device,
Roll call.
EPAM.
I'm sorry, roll call.
Senator Bloss. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Guthert. Senator Shizaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Muina Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
Pass.
Senator Blas. Senator Espaldon. Speaker Wampat.
Pass.
Senator Espaldon. Speaker Wampat.
Pass. Bill number 234, LS, received 8 yeas, 5 nays, and 2 excused absence. Bill number 234 is duly passed. Bill number 357. Three. Yeah, 357. Oh, so, well, but this is the one that was here. The one I talked to. I mean, skip it. Okay, so.
Those that
So.
You can change it any color. Green.
Did we do 129?
we have not voted on 296, right? No, we have
There's been a correction. We are on Bill 296. This is the thick, not yet ready. So 296. If we skipped a bill, remember we said earlier that we'll renumber them if it's not ready yet. So, but 296, there are no amendments made to it. 296. So would the clerks read then Bill 296?
Bill number 296 EC, introduced as amended by the author, introduced by B.C. Pangilinan. An act to add a new Part 5 to Title 18, Division 1 of the Guam Code annotated to provide for a new Guam Business Corporation Act under the laws of Guam.
Roll call. Senator Blas. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espaldon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Guthert. Senator Shijaki. Senator Lujan. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampet.
Yes. Bill number 296 received 13 yeas, 2 excused absence. Bill number 296 is duly passed. We're still waiting for the other bills to be engrossed, so we're going to take a brief recess.
Wait, resolution 178.
Want to go back and? Never mind. I'll just use mine.
Resolution 178. Can we vote on it? No. There's no changes.
Do you have 192? I don't have that.
Because I'm eating all your cookies. Yeah. Yeah. What happened to Bill 270? No committee? It's not technical? So where do we put the 60 days, BJ? Terminate 60 days after you terminate. Okay, I'll bring it down. No, we can pass it now.
The legislature is back in session. Senator Espicio, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, notwithstanding the House rules, I move that we suspend voting. And on the matter of Bill 129, I move that we bring that bill down from the voting file down to the second reading file for purposes of making a minor amendment.
On the motion, well, up or down?
Move it up to the
Up,
second
okay.
reading file.
So on the motion, without an objection, so ordered. Okay, Senator Espicio.
Thank you. On Bill 129, on page 2, line 4, I move to insert the words no, I did a notwithstanding. It's to move it all the way up to second reading. Second reading.
It is.
I move that Bill 129, as substituted by the Committee on Health, Human Services, Homeland Security, and amended on the floor, be placed in third reading, but I have an amendment.
Okay, on the motion, no, you would go ahead and make the amendment.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. On page 2, line 4, after the word terminate, to insert the words 60 days.
Okay, on
And
that.
then, so it'd be 60, and then parentheses, 60, close parentheses, days.
Okay, clerks, are you able to get that? Spell the word 60, then parentheses, 60, end of parentheses, days. So on that amendment, without any objection, so ordered. Senator Espicio.
Thank you. Now, on the motion to place Bill 129 as substituted by the Committee on Health, Human Services, and Homeland Security, and amend on the floor, move to the third reading file.
So on the motion, Senator Espicio, Tenorio.
Madam Speaker, I appreciate the amendment, and I understand what has just happened. I didn't get the opportunity to speak on this earlier, but I would like to say, for the record, that I oppose the bill number 129 EC. I think that we are going down a very slippery slope. This committee, this board that is, has done a great volume of work over its term and the members who have been on that board. This particular measure provides for, I think, conditions which don't exist in many other boards. We're setting up a system by which currently there is quite a bit of activity that is taking place with this particular board on matters of professional conduct. And the removal of these individuals from their positions, I think, personally, as a member of this body, is going to set back the work that has already transpired there. There has been a number of activities that have taken place, what has allegedly been unprofessional in nature, which is being reviewed by the existing members, which is going to come up in succeeding months for review. And by removing these individuals from their position, are we now negating, in fact, what they have already started to do, and which has been interrupted through legal technical measures through this board? I have a real problem with this bill. And I seriously understand some of those individuals who are involved in the work that they're doing, and I've attended one of their meetings, and I think they're acting very prudently. They're working with the Attorney General's office. They're trying to be cautious in their deliberations and looking at these things very closely, and I think that this particular measure is a problem. I think it's a major problem. And I personally, and I encourage my colleagues to seriously consider what you're doing with regards to this measure. These individuals are professionals. They are trying to be careful in their diagnostics and their assessment of other professionals operating within the areas that they have purview, and they are doing so in deliberate, cautious process. And this, I think, will completely upset the process that they've already undertaken in many issues that have come before them. And I think that this is a problem, and I do not support this bill, and I object to it.
Thank you. Senator Tenorio on the motion to place it then down to third reading. No objections ordered. Senator Respicio.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that Bill number 129 be voted on without engrossment.
Okay. On that motion then, without any objections, so ordered. Okay, we're in voting file, and we have resolution number 178. Resolution number 178.
Oh, 178? Resolution number 178 EC and substituted by the author, introduced by BJF Cruz, FF Blas Jr., JP Gutherts, and others, relative to urging Congressional Delegate Madeline Z. Bordallo, Democrat, Guam, to request from the Comptroller General of the United States a report on the status of claims and an update on the service delivery of health care to veterans in the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, Guam, and American Samoa.
All those in favor of resolution number 178, please raise your hand. Resolution number 178, please raise your hands. It's unanimously passed by this body. Bill number 129, unengrossed. The one that was just 129. Oh, to the bottom of the file. Okay. All right. So it's 392. Wait. 392. Roll call. (392)
Senator Blas?
We are voting, so please take your seats.
Senator Calvo? Senator Benjamin Cruz?
Aye.
Senator Spaldon?
Yes.
Speaker Forbes? Senator Gutherts? Senator Shijaki? Senator Lohan, Senator Munia Barnes, Senator Palacios, Speaker Pangilinan, Senator Respicio, Senator Shimizu, Senator Tenorio, Speaker Wampat.
Yes. Bill number 392, LS received 13 yeas, 2 excused absence. Bill number 392 is duly passed. Bill number 357.
Bill number 357, as amended by the author, introduced by J.P. Guthers, R.J. Respicio, B.J. Cruz, and T.R.M. Munia Barnes. An act to amend Title 12 Guam Code annotated, Chapter 12, Section 12015.5b and e, and to add new sub-items 1 and 2 to Title 12 Guam Code annotated 12015.5b to provide an amortized system development charge ASDC for low and moderate income Guam residents who built or purchased a home for their personal residence or for the residence of immediate family members, and to provide guidelines for the Public Utilities Commission to follow in adopting rules for the implementation of the ASDC.
Roll call. Senator Blas, Senator Calvo, Senator Benjamin Cruz, Senator Spaldon, Speaker Ford, Senator Guthers, Senator Shijaki, Senator Lohan, Senator Munia Barnes, Senator Palacios, Speaker Pangilinan, Senator Respicio, Senator Shimizu, Senator Tenorio, Speaker Wampat.
Yes. Bill number 357 received 13 yeas, 2 excused absence. Bill number 357 is duly passed. Bill number 348.
Bill number 348 LS, as amended by the author, introduced by R.J. Respicio, B.J. Cruz, J.P. Guthers, T.R. Munia Barnes. An act to add a new sub-item F to Title 11 Guam Code annotated, Chapter 1, Section 1107, relative to requiring a deferral of payment of fees due for certain Government of Guam licenses, permits, and certificates by a member of the Guam National Guard or Reserves on active duty outside of Guam and their dependents.
Roll call. Senator Blas. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Spaldon. Speaker Ford. Senator Guthers. Senator Shijaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Munia Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio.
Three, 4, 8.
Speaker Wampat.
Yes. Bill number 348, LS received 13 yeas, 2 excused absence. Bill number 348 is duly passed. Bill number 129.
Bill number 129 EC, as substituted by the Committee on Health, Human Services, and Homeland Security, introduced by J.T. Wampat, F.F. Blas Jr., T.R. Munia Barnes, J.P. Guthers. An act to amend Section 12803A of Chapter 12 of Title 10 of the Guam Code annotated relative to amending the term of office and to provide for staggered terms for the members of the Guam Board of Allied Health Examiners.
Roll call.
Senator Blas. Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Gutherts. Senator Tajaki. Senator Lohan. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampat.
Yes.
Senator Calvo. Senator Benjamin Cruz. Senator Espadon. Senator Gutherts. Senator Respicio. Senator Espadon. Senator Gutherts.
Substitute Bill 129 EC received 8 yeas, 5 nays, and 2 excused absence. Bill number 129 is duly passed. We've exhausted the list bills on the agenda, on the voting file. Senator Reese. Senator Tenorio.
Thank you. Are we in brief extension remarks, Madam Speaker?
Brief extension remarks.
No?
Well, why don't you take a brief recess?
Just want to see.
We're back in session. That's true. We do have confirmations. Yes, we have 2. Yes, we are. We're still there. And we do have 2 confirmations. So we have everybody's due then. So, yes. Yeah. And we're going to do roll call on this. So. Okay, so on the matter of the appointment of Ms. Lou Leon Guerrero to serve as a member of the Guam Memorial Hospital Authority Board of Trustees, could the clerk please call, wait. Okay,
Madam
show of
Speaker?
hands.
Yeah.
Yes, so please raise your hands You're in favor of the nomination? It's a unanimous support. So Ms. Liu Leon Guerrero is confirmed by this legislature to serve as a member of the Guam Memorial Hospital Authority Board of Trustees. On the appointment of Mr. J. Peter Roberto to serve as Director of the Department of Public Health and Social Services, that will be roll call.
Senator Blas. Senator Calvo. Senator Cruz. Senator Spaldon. Speaker Forbes. Senator Gutherds. Senator Shizaki. Senator Lujan. Senator Munya Barnes. Senator Palacios. Speaker Pangilinan. Senator Respicio. Senator Shimizu. Senator Tenorio. Speaker Wampen.
Yes.
Senator Shimizu. Senator Cruz, he's out. So it's only 12. Senator BJ Cruz.
Sergeant at Arms, can you please call the senator in?
The listing has the new committee reports received, but they weren't placed on voting by.
He's got the listing. Senator BJ Cruz. No. J. Peter? No. Okay. Two of 1, 2.
On the appointment of Mr. J. Peter Roberto to serve as Director of the Department of Public Health and Social Services, received 12 yeas, 1 nays, 2 excused absence. Mr. J. Peter Roberto has been confirmed by this legislature. Okay, so we have exhausted now everything else. Senator Respicio, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. There's just 2 nominations that we have committee reports for. And so notwithstanding the House rules, I move that we revert back to motions.
Okay, on that motion then, without any objections, ordered.
Madam Speaker, I'd like to make a motion to place on the legislative concurrences from the Committee on Education, General and Omnibus Affairs on the appointment of Mr. Eduardo R. Elau to serve as a member of the GCC Board of Trustees with a recommendation to do confirm, as well as from the Committee on Judiciary, Natural Resources, Infrastructure, and Cultural Affairs on the appointment of Mr. Michael A. Pangilinan to serve as a member of the PUC, Public Utilities Commission.
Michael Pangilinan for
Yes, ma'am. Michael Pangilinan for the PUC.
PUC.
And Eduardo Elau from GCC Board of Trustees. To the GCC Board of Trustees.
Okay, on that motion, without any objections.
Frank, that's all we have. Do we have any more?
Are there more?
The listing I have just has those 2. Madam Speaker, I have from the clerk a few more nominations that are ready for the voting file. The other one is Felix C. Sablan to serve as a member of the GCC College Board of Trustees. Mr. Andrew Leguana to serve on the UOG Board of Regents. Mr. Frank P. Ariola to serve as a member of the GCC Board of Trustees. Dr. Larry Castlebaur to serve as a member of the Guam Commission for Educator Certification, as well as Ms. Asuncion P. Guerrero to serve as a member of the Guam Commission for Educator Certification. And I move that all these nominations be placed under legislative concurrences.
On the motion, without any objections, so ordered.
I then move, Madam Speaker, that all these nominations be placed in the voting file.
On that motion, then, without any objections, so ordered.
Yeah, and I make a motion now that we're in the voting file to vote all of them by show of hands.
Okay, so would the clerk please read the first nominee? Okay, okay. Yeah. Mr. Eduardo Ilao, please raise your right hand. Okay, you receive unanimous and support.
Mr. Michael A. Pangilinan.
All in favor, please raise your hands. Also unanimous support is confirmed by this legislature.
Mr. Felix C. Sablan.
All in favor, please raise your hands. Mr. Sablan received unanimous support and is duly confirmed.
Mr. Andrew T. Laguana.
Raise your right hand, please. Everybody, are you voting? Okay, Mr. Laguana has received unanimous support. He is duly confirmed.
Mr. Frank P. Ariola.
Raise your hands, please. Mr. Ariola has received unanimous support and he is duly confirmed.
Dr. Lawrence Casper Bauer.
All in favor, please raise your hands. He's received unanimous support and he is duly confirmed.
Ms. Asuncion P. Guerrero.
Raise your hands, please. Ms. Guerrero is duly confirmed and receiving unanimous support. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes, Mr. Tenori, Senator Tenori. Mr. is fine, okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. A brief extension remarks will be very brief. I want to thank you, of course, and all of my colleagues here for a very efficient session this time. And I also want to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all of you, and please be safe out there on the roads, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, Senator Tenori. Senator Speaker Ben Pangilinan.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, Madam Speaker, we wish on this blessed holiday, we all have our own beliefs and so forth. And for me, I am a Catholic. I believe in the child Christ, and this celebration of Christmas is a time that we want to wish peace and goodwill to all men on earth, whether or not they are of the faith, because we know in the teachings of our Lord that it is a recognition of His creation, that we all are a part of His creation. And we all will have peace, I hope. But there's a group of people that will not have peace on this blessed holiday. And they live at Guma Tranquilidad. These people, Istia Manamko, had one plea, that they spend their last days on this earth in peace and tranquility, in a place they call home, in an environment that allows them to know their neighbors, to be able to walk next door and knock on a neighbor and share a neck plant or a melon from the garden that they grow. But they won't have that for long. And it's ironic, and it's even maybe the fact that it may take a while to build this project may be good for some of them, because they will pass from this earth before that project is done and before they have to completely disrupt their lives. But they will be disrupted because they'll have to be moved and so forth. And I just feel sad, and I can't let this pass without expressing my sadness over that. I understand we all have our reasons, and I expect everyone's reasons. But I can't just say that it will not have an effect on their lives, and that their cry and their pleas were not heard. And I am sad for that, and I'm sad for them. But I wish no ill on anyone, and neither do they. You know, I attended their Christmas party and gathering at Guma Tranquilidad the other night, and it was a peaceful and tranquil environment. It wasn't a place where they're at. It was a sense of place of where they live. And all that is going to be lost forever. And it's going to be lost forever with regards to us and our people and our culture in terms of a symbol of how we value them. And I am sad for that. I will go and on this holiday pray that we all have a safe and Merry Christmas, and that they too will enjoy this last Christmas in a place and a sense of place they call Guma Tranquilidad. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Speaker Ben. Senator Calvo.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I'm going to keep it very short, but I know we will be having an extension of remarks later on in the next few weeks as we close this 29th Guam Legislature. But I did want to make just a short statement, not only to this legislative body, but to the people of Guam. I tell you, it's not always it's been fun, and I'm talking actually fun, to come to work. But over the past few days, though we may have disagreed on certain bills and certain issues, and there's not been unanimity. In fact, looking at the bills that have been acted on just in this session, where you've had either near unanimous or you've had some very close votes one way or the other on particular bills. What I did note is all my colleagues here, and maybe it's the spirit of Christmas and this time of the year, there has been spirited debate and discussion on subject matters, but there has been all from the perspective of what they believed was in the best interest of the people of Guam, and they've moved forward in that spirit. And again, maybe it is because of this time of the year. Again, it has been a pleasure working these past few days. The senator from Jigo mentioned it has been efficient. We've moved forward on so many bills. And I just want to share my thoughts on this particular session. And again, maybe it is because of the spirit of Christmas. And with that, it bodes well towards that last session that we'll be having after Christmas. And again, for those that will be continuing on the 30th Guam Legislature, if we can continue in that same spirit. And for those of us that will not be continuing on, again, this spirit that we do share today, as you move along and in our paths in 2009, may that same spirit move forward as well. And with that, I want to wish all my colleagues a Merry Christmas. And again, health, happiness to you and your family. And I also want to wish that to the people of Guam. Merry Christmas to one and all.
Thank you very much, Senator Calvo. Vice Speaker Shimizu.
In fact, I wanted to say that I'm going to lay the foundation so that we can build within the next few days a very, very merry times with family. And may all the blessings that comes from the universal being be on us, and that we may also have a prosperous new year. And so I want to wish each and every one of you a very, very happy holidays. And may you have, again, a very, very blissful family get-together. Situs Mase.
Thank you very much. Okay, so no more. Senator Respicio, you're recognized.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I rise to echo the sentiments expressed by previous colleagues. And this legislature has been under your leadership since February, I believe, and that every time we come into session, some seem to be surprised that we have more Republican bills sometimes than we do Democrat bills. And it's not just in keeping with the spirit of Christmas. I think it's keeping with our commitment to bipartisanship and making sure that every bill that has a committee eventually makes its way to the floor. And I want to stand to say I appreciate all those comments recognizing what we're doing to work together for the betterment and the greater good of the people of Guam. I want to wish you Merry Christmas and to wish all of our colleagues Merry Christmas and wish the people of Guam a very Merry Christmas. And with that, I move that we adjourn subject to the call of the Speaker.
There is an objection. All those in favor then to adjourn, please raise your right hand.
I think the motion to recess takes precedent.
If there's an objection, then normally we would call for the vote. So we'll 1 second recess and I'll check with legal counsel.
Madam Speaker, there was already a motion to adjourn, and there should have been a vote on that one before you did anything else, before you entertained another motion. But the motion to adjourn had already been made. So then you should have taken a vote on the objection before you took the second motion. So take the vote on the adjournment, and if it fails, then you go to the recess. But there's a motion on the floor for adjournment. So that's the first motion that's on the floor.
Subject to the call of the Speaker.
So then take the vote on the motion to adjourn.
So we are then back in session. So there was an objection then to the motion to adjourn, so I'm going to call for the vote. All those in favor then to adjourn, please raise your hand. Please keep your hands up. We're counting. Okay, we are adjourned. And subject to the call of the Speaker.
There was